This is our 6th video on food safety management for higher national diploma students. This video will focus on the Food Safety Guide for legislation compliance. Most important food safety regulations are the Food Safety Act 1990, the Food Hygiene Regulations 2006, Food Labelling Regulations 1996, and a European Union regulation on the hygiene of foodstuffs.
My name's Graham Cushion. I'm a partner within Poppleston Allen. I specialise, as well as dealing with licensing, which is our core business, I specialise with what we call regulatory crime. Today I'd like to advise you about the risks and pitfalls associated with paying inadequate attention to food safety practices in the modern business world. Food safety is a legislative framework which governs people who produce and indeed serve up food in licensed premises. It tells them what they can and can't do to ensure that customers get food that's in a nice condition to eat and avoid nasty things such as food poisoning. Well, in commercial kitchen premises such as this one, it's very important to keep things clean. There's obviously a risk of disease or indeed food poisoning being caused to customers if food practices aren't up to scratch. Cleaning practices are therefore very important. It's important to train staff to carefully document that training so that they know what they're doing when it comes to cleaning the kitchen, because of course environmental health officers will come into a kitchen like this and they will shine torches into its darkest corners, because that's where dirt and debris doesn't typically get cleaned away from. And it's also where mouse droppings can be evident in the worst cases and other evidence of rodent activity. But spirits, bizarrely, are actually covered by the very same legislation as food. So if, as an operator, you store your spirits and they are contaminated in some way so that they're not of an appropriately high quality, then you can fall foul of food safety legislation and you can be prosecuted under it. Well, the risks of non-compliance with food safety legislation are fairly high. The sanctions are high. You can receive very high fines from the courts in the event that you fall foul of the legislation. Generally, food safety offences can be dealt with either in the magistrates' court, or in the most serious cases they can actually go to the Crown Court. The magistrates' court themselves have sentencing powers of up to £20,000 per offence. So if we relate that to spirits, one bottle of peach schnapps, which isn't in the condition that it should be, can lead an operator to a fine of up to £20,000. That of course ignores the other risks of bad publicity. There will generally be a member of the press sitting in court when your company or your individual director is convicted of a food safety offence, and no company these days really wants their name in the papers for the wrong reasons. In the very worst cases, it is actually possible for individuals to go to prison, and there have been some fairly high-profile cases recently of operators with fairly shocking food safety practices. By that I mean they've probably ignored all sorts of previous guidance from environmental health officers and really put customers and consumers at serious risk of food poisoning and ill health as a result of their poor food safety practices. And in those cases, you do actually get people going to prison. I think in this day and age, paperwork is very important. Every kind of regulator out there expects to see a paper trail, emphasising that the business has taken every possible step to make sure that problems in a particular arena do not arise. In the case of food safety, it comes down to having a proper food safety policy in place, having staff properly trained in that policy, and having all of the training regularly updated and properly documented so that it can be produced in the event that something goes wrong. If you needed any further information in respect of these sorts of issues, if you'd encountered a problem with an environmental health officer, for example, you can always contact us through our website, by telephone, by email.